Okay, so UFC Fight Night, Lerone Murphy versus Josh Emmett has just wrapped up, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this card was pretty shit. It was pretty bad. Like, it was one of the cards of all time, let's just say that. One of the cards of all time. First fight of the night, we had Vanessa Demopoulos versus Talieta Almakar. Almakar just dominated Vanessa Demopoulos. Demopoulos is bad. She's a robbery merchant. Then we had Martin Buday versus Yuran Satabalat Baldiev. Only caught like the second and third round. But I've seen a lot of people saying that Yuran was robbed in the. A lot of people were saying that Yuran was robbed. Sorry, my audio just cut out there. I was checking it was still on. Yeah, apparently, some people saying Yuran was robbed, but Martin Buday did get the decision. He sort of just clinch striked, from what I could see. Didn't really do much damage, but Yuran was a natural light heavyweight. He was a lot smaller, but he almost did get a third round knockout on Martin Buday, but Buday ends up surviving. But yeah, Yuran loses his undefeated streak. I didn't think this guy was great or anything like that, but I did think Yuran would be able to beat Martin Buday. But again, at the end of the day, he's not a natural heavyweight. He was much smaller. He was 220 against a fucking guy who cuts to 265. So, these things happen. And Martin Buday's 6-1 in the UFC. Shout out to shout out to the heavyweight division, I guess. What a division. Then Victor Henry beat the crap out of Pedro Falco. Yeah, this was just a dominant performance by Victor Henry. Knocked him down the first round. Second round was close. You could argue either way. Third round, Victor Henry just started to batter him again. And, he gets the win by decision. Dominant performance. Victor Henry is such a weird fighter because, like, sometimes he looks really bad, but then other times he looks like an absolute monster. Like, against Charles Jourdain, he didn't look that good, but maybe Charles Jourdain is just that good at bantamweight. Apparently, he was barely cutting to featherweight, so maybe this was his weight class the whole time. A lot of his fights, he did just get taken down and stuff like that. So maybe Charles Jourdain is just built for this featherweight division. But anyway, moving on up the card, we had Luma Lookboom versus Stella Nunez. Luma Lookboom looked pretty bad in this fight, to be honest. Like, she's actually a pretty good fighter, and maybe Stella Nunez has just improved a lot, but she made it close. I thought Luma Lookboom won, but it was way closer than it had any right to be. Like, I am surprised it was this close. It's not a good sign, in my opinion, that it was this close, but yeah, is what it is. Luma Lookboom gets the decision, thankfully. Then moving on up, we had Reese McKee versus Daniel Frunza. This was just an absolute ass whooping, and I predicted this. I said Reese McKee would win as an underdog. I was very confident in this. I don't know why I was so confident in Reese McKee, but he got it done, so I was right. I didn't think Frunza was all that, and we've seen Reese McKee beat a lot of these like Balkan and like Eastern European type guys. Yeah, I just know he can beat these sorts of guys like from that region, against that level of competition. I know Reese McKee has his best performances against those like Southern European, Eastern European types from Cage Warriors, beating those types of guys. And he's beat a lot of guys with similar styles to Daniel Frunza, and he battered this guy. Dropped him early, dropped him again. It says 3 knockdowns, but I swear it was 4, but it's also just battering him as well on the feet. Like, he did nasty beating, and then cut the lip, battered the eye. Like, Frunza looked fucked afterwards. And it was a great performance for Reese McKee. Now, I think Reese McKee was probably tiring a little bit from beating the shit out of Frunza so much that it may have got a bit interesting if it got to the second round. But Reese McKee finally gets a win in the UFC. It took 5 fights. He was 0-4 before this. But they did give him some pretty tough competition, like, to be fair to him. They gave him Hamza Chimaev in his debut. They gave him Alex Morono at the time, who was, like, okay. I'm Alex Morono's biggest hater. But yeah, it was okay at the time. And then they also had for Ange Lusa, who's like a very underrated guy. He's not looking too good now, but like at the time, he's pretty decent. and then Chidinan Shikwi, who's also like looking very good at welterweight. So yeah, Reece McKee, he's a bit underrated, and he got a win here, so he looked really good. So congratulations to Reece McKee. It's good to see him finally get a win. He's gotten some pretty bad luck, and he's been given some pretty tough competition, but he shows he's better than Daniel Frunza. Then we had Diana Belabita versus Diana. I think they're both Diana, right? Dione, Dione Barboza. Barboza wins pretty easily. I mean, Belabita got subbed by Meatball. I mean, it was sort of an easy fight to predict, to be honest. Barboza by submission was like almost guaranteed. Like I would say it was a lock if the odds weren't so fucking lopsided. But Belabita's just not UFC level. Then moving on up, this is the fight right here. So we had Therese Finney versus Robert Valentin. One of the worst fights, if you can even fucking call it that, I've ever watched. And I picked Therese Finney. And I honestly think you can give that fight to Robert Valentin. Now, you're going to say I'm crazy, but if you look at the stats, Therese Finney landed 0 significant strikes in the first round. He landed 0 significant strikes in the third round. Yes, he had very big takedowns, and maybe the big takedowns, they were like amplified takedowns. Maybe they counted as a slam, but so maybe that's why they gave it to him. But outside of that, like, come on, man, like that. There was no damage. Damage is the number one scoring criteria. Terence Finney has no damage. He doesn't give damage on the feet, on the ground. Even his slams, he was like gently putting Valentin down. Like, what's going on here? Valentin was actually attacking. He was hitting him. And that's all it should have been. Like, Valentin did more damage. Therese Finney can't do any damage, it seems like. It's sad because he's got all the potential, but like he's no ground and pound or power, but he's like got all the attributes of a good fighter. He's got pretty good, like he's got power, but doesn't use it. He's very strong. He's very athletic. He's built like a brick shithouse. But none of that seems to matter because Therese Finney can't inflict damage onto another human being, even though he's got all these attributes to do it. He has no technique. He has an overhand that he has caught somebody with, but on this feet, we've seen barely any striking from him. He just goes in there, shoots, and yeah, he gets the takedowns, but I just don't think the guy is very, like, damaging. Like, I think he could be really good. There's not really anyone built like this in the middleweight division who can do, like, the stuff he does, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a fucking shame, because, like, the guy's got all the attributes, but yeah, he just needs to. If he threw more volume, like I don't think people would care. Like he looks cool to fight. Like I feel like he'd be a cool like fan favorite type fighter if he inflicted damage. If he worked on his technique a little bit for ground and pound. If he had ground and pound, it'd be a problem. But he's definitely going to lose a decision where he mauls somebody, not mauls somebody, where he just takes somebody down easy. But he won't do any damage and he'll lose a decision like he almost did today. Uh, Tony Weeks, 30-27 from Valentin, absolutely based. Like, honestly, you can argue that because damage is the number one scoring criteria. I think 29-28 Valentin was, like, possible. I think Therese Finney won the second round pretty clearly. I think it was the round where he got, like, a slam when he was getting armbarred, which was, like, that was damage, yes. So you could probably say he gets the second round of damage, but I mean, the guy landed 4 fucking significant strikes, and I seen a guy reply, "Wow, what about control time? Control time doesn't mean shit, you fucking old fuck. Like, it doesn't work that way. You don't win decisions because you have control time. That's not the number one scoring criteria. Damage is. Valentin did more damage. Like, on the feet, he was actually landing shots. That's enough. That's all it takes. Therese Finney, what did he do? He had no damage. Like, the only thing Therese Finney damaged was his reputation. Like, he didn't even have a big reputation before, but he's made it worse. Like, Dana gave this guy 3 opportunities on the Dana White Contender Series because he didn't want him. And he said, all right, I've turned a new leaf. I'm not like that anymore. I'm actually gonna properly fight. And he goes and fucks it again. This was worse than his Dana White Contender Series performances. Against Cam Rouston, this was worse than that fight. This was worse against the fight than the Russian polar bear. Like, he's looked. This is the worst he's looked. But I disagree with Dana White saying that, he'll get killed in the UFC. I think he'll beat a lot of guys, but, like, it's just not going to be fun to watch. If you want him to lose, you got to give him a guy who's like some absolute unit with takedown defense. I'd say like a nightmare matchup would be some cardio freak, something like Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez would destroy Terrence Finney. I mean, obviously, we're thinking a little ahead here, but like looking at the guys, like I don't know. There's like a lot of guys you could give Terrence Finney who could really badly hurt him. But like, I don't think it's like Dana says the levels here is different. I think middleweight's awful skill wise, and I think Therese Finney can beat a lot of these guys. I just think it won't be entertaining. But he needs to go work on his boxing. The guy's got a crazy reach for his height. He's got like a 75.5 inch reach when he's like 5'8". That's crazy. That's a crazy reach for his size. If he works on some boxing, just get a jab. Where is your jab? You're a professional fighter. Get a jab. If he gets a jab, he has the takedown threat. He can land big shots on the feet, or he can use his boxing to get takedowns. Like, how is a fighter this one-dimensional in 2025? Like, come on, man. You're still young as well. I know he looks old, but Teresfini's like 25 or something, isn't he? Well, let me check. How old is this bloke? Let me have a look. He's 26 years old. He's born in 1998. This guy still has time. Middleweights can go till they're like in their 40s. Like, just get some boxing, get some striking ability. That's all you need. At least be able to inflict damage on the feet and the ground. You need ground and pound. Yeah, you don't even need submissions. Just work on your ground and pound and your striking on the feet. For fuck's sake, please, Terence Finney. Anyway, moving on. I think I've given this fight enough shit. Then we had on the main card, this opened up the main card, by the way. Then we had Odi Osbourne versus Louis Garuli. Fuck, I forgot how to pronounce this guy's last name. But he lost. Odi Osbourne gets the win, knocks him out brutally. Odi Osbourne's career was on the line here. like dead set was on this was going to be it if he lost. And he got a big time KO, so I'd imagine he's still going to be signed. He's going to get re-signed. So, that's good for Odi Osbourne. But yeah, good performance. Knocks him out. He got taken down in the first round pretty badly. Garuli, I think his name was Louis Garuli. That's probably how you say it, Garuli. Louis Garuli, got a big takedown, but ended up getting chinned pretty badly. It was one of those bad ones. It was a heavy punch. Odi Osbourne went to do like a walk-off, but then the ref didn't stop it. Then Odi Osbourne had to just beat him up a little bit more. Then we had Brad Tavares versus Gerald Meerschaert. This fight went exactly how I expected. Brad Tavares has the best takedown defense in middleweight history, and he showed it. Didn't get taken down once. Beat up Gerald Meerschaert on the feet, and Brad Tavares won. So, that's good for Brad Tavares. Saves his career here. And it'll be interesting to see who they feed him to next. Brad Tavares versus Therese Finney would be a nightmare matchup for Therese Finney. That's something I'd like to see, to be honest. That would be very nice, actually. Maybe get Therese Finney another win, and then if he has another boring fight, you just do him versus Brad Tavares. Even at this point, I think Brad Tavares would beat him. It's just a nightmare matchup for him. But the Iron Turtle did get him down, so maybe there is going to be some cracks in his takedown defense. But against Gerald Meerschaert, there wasn't. Even Gerald Meerschaert versus Therese Finney would be interesting. Therese Finney gasses. Maybe Gerald Meerschaert gets him in something in the third round. But anyway, Brad Tavares wins. Then we had Lee Chang Ho versus Cortavius Romios, I think. Lee Chang Ho just sort of mauled him on the ground. Like, Romios had like some moments, but nothing crazy. Like, he was never going to win. Like, he had moments where he like had the back, where he like reversed position when he's getting battered. But Chang Ho Lee sort of just dominated. He calls himself the Korean Habib. I've been an enjoyer. I picked this guy to win the road to UFC. People doubted me. They thought the Chinese guy was going to beat him, but Chang Ho Lee, he won. So I'm big on Lee Chang Ho or Chang Ho Lee, whatever you want to call him. I'm a big fan of this guy, the Korean Habib. Don't think he's going to go on to be champion or anything like that, but he's got a fun style. I love mauling fighters like this. It's a treat to watch. And Lee Chang Ho wins. Then we had Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. Yeah, I got this one wrong. Pat Sabatini just like mauled him. I had a feeling this was a possibility, but I thought Brito would be able to find the chin of Sabatini. Let's not forget, Pat Sabatini got knocked out cold by Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson is not somebody who should be knocking you out, but he got absolutely starched by Damon Jackson early. Then got starched by Diego Lopez. Brito beat Diego Lopez. I know MMA math doesn't work. That's not why I picked Brito, but like it's crazy to see like the way the careers of Brito and Diego Lopez after Dana White Contender Series is crazy to see the like transformation in their careers. Lopez is fighting for the UFC featherweight championship next week, and Joe Anderson Brito is losing to fucking Pat Sabatini and that William Gomez. Like, that's crazy. What a fucking career turnaround that is. But yeah, good performance by Pat Sabatini. He mauls him, destroys him with ease. Brito had no success whatsoever. There was so many boring like fights in this fight. Like I wouldn't even say it was boring. Like Pat Sabatini was doing a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. But there was like a lot of mauling performances, a lot of ground fighting, which I like. I like ground fighting when it's like Chang Ho Lee. And Sabatini was doing a lot of damage, so I'm not going to hate on him too much. But Therese Finney is like just god awful. Then we had Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. Absolute boring Leon Edward esque fucking performance by Lerone Murphy. Yeah, this fight was just bad. It wasn't great. Lerone Murphy, I don't rate at all. Never rated Lerone Murphy too highly. I still think to this day I think Gabriel Santos beat him. Almost got chinned by Dan Ego. I pick Lerone Murphy, but I really don't think this guy's going to go much further. I don't think he's ever going to be champion. The guy's like 34 years of age. Uh, yeah, he's undefeated, but like if he wasn't undefeated, nobody would care about him. Plus, he does have a draw against Zubera Tukunov. But outside of that, he beat Marwan Mirkani, who was like a Mirkani. He beat Makwan Mirkani. He was just like, holy shit, my like audio is going crazy. Yeah, he beat Marwan Amirkhani, who was taking him down with ease. Then he beat Gabriel Santos, who he shouldn't have beat. Beat Kalibar, Barboza, Ige, but Ige almost knocked him the fuck out. And then he beat Josh Emmett. I don't know who else. Like, I think Arnold Allen would beat this guy pretty easily, to be honest with you. Like, I'm just looking. Actually, they might train together, so they probably wouldn't fight. But Yair Rodriguez would probably beat him. Brian Ortega, he'd probably beat Ortega at this point. Ortega's just not there anymore. Diego Lopez, I think, would knock him out. Max Holloway would obviously beat him. Volk would beat him. Ilya Taporia would beat him. Movzar Evloev would destroy him. As much as I don't rate Movzar that highly, he's a nightmare matchup for him. Aljamain Sterling would beat Murphy. Yeah, there's not anybody I see who could really beat him at this point. I think these are all bad matchups. Unless they give him Ortega. I do think he would beat Ortega more than likely. So yeah, rough for Murphy moving forward, but he's going to be he's going to be a top 8 guy. But like, yeah, I just don't think Murphy going further. As for Emmett, I don't know. I don't think he retired or anything like that. But there's not really many people I see Josh Emmett beating at this point either. So yeah, I don't even know. What do you do? But yeah, like I think Bryce Mitchell would be a tough. Oh my god, I'm getting so sick of this shit. Pop. Yeah, like I think a Bryce Mitchell would be like a tough matchup for a Lerone Murphy. Like somebody who can take him down. I don't think his takedown defense is very good. Like Emmett's not even a big takedown guy, but he was managing to like pick him up and slam him over his head. Like obviously Emmett's a strong guy, but he doesn't go to it very often. But yeah, I think it's probably end of the road for Murphy. As for Emmett, maybe you do him versus like a maybe Yusuf Zalal versus Josh Emmett. I don't mind that. That'd probably be a good fight. Maybe Giga Shikadze versus Onama, winner versus Emma. There's a few good fights you could do for Emma. Just give him like a nice brawling style, not some boring guy like Lerone Murphy. Obviously, I don't blame Murphy. You have to do what you got to do to win. You don't want to get knocked out, but It just wasn't very fun to watch. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the card. Let me know what you guys thought. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.